welcome to another video. Today we're going to do a day in my life. I woke up a bit later than I normally do, but that's completely okay. It is winter time after all, and I feel like our bodies need that extra hour of sleep some days, you know? Throughout this video, I'm just going to bring you along for the day, and I'm going to share 3 really awesome books that I read last year that I'm recommending to everybody forever. I'm into my reading era. I used to want to read or say that I would want to read and get into the habit of reading every single year, and then my partner gifted me a Kindle, and that helped me tremendously because I know that like buying books can definitely add up over time. Have a cup of coffee, snack. I hope you enjoy watching. I just finished doing yoga and I feel super zen. That being said, I feel like yoga has helped me tremendously over the last 2 to 3 years, just be more in tune with myself, with my body as a whole, and just has helped me tremendously with accepting and just being content with my body as is. That brings me to my first book recommendation. It is Body Neutrality by Ayla Freitas. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. This book is amazing. I recommend it to every women and men. There's just a lot of life-changing information in it, a lot of which may seem pretty like self-explanatory, but she does an awesome job at dissecting and going into specifics in regards to negative body image, what that is and what it consists of. She also dives into what diet culture is, the practice of body neutrality, how to implement more of that into your daily life. She also discusses strategies like the use of neutral language, a lot of self-care, which is not your typical put on a skincare mask, more complex and tangible as well. I pulled out my little Kindle. I'm gonna read some of the popular highlights throughout my read. In the diet culture chapter, I highlighted food is not tied to morality. If you believe foods are good or bad, then you'll start to believe you are good or bad depending on what you eat. Inevitably, this is what causes guilt and shame, and you develop that relationship with food, which is incredibly eye-opening to me because I grew up low income. I would see my classmates, especially when I was younger, when they would get their beautifully packaged lunches, I would have to just eat the school lunch. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. However, there was just like so much guilt and shame surrounding that. They would get their nice little like fruit cuts like into cute shapes and like the nice crackers and like good sources of proteins. The thing is that there's no such thing as good or bad food. The fact that food is marketed that way just means that, again, it's just a tactic to make people feel, again, shame and making that realization that there's no such thing as good or bad food. It's more so whether a certain food has more nutrients than another, then that's where it differentiates. But there's no shame in eating foods that are, I guess, of less quality. Like, everybody is just trying to survive. Another quote that I want to highlight is in regards to diet culture and how diet culture basically distorts our idea of what body respect looks like, makes us think that we're doing a good thing by restricting foods, and it convinces us that more exercise is always better, which is absolutely not always the case. Everybody's body and food intake when it comes to calories is so different. It varies. When you're basically on a diet, you're chained down by food rules, which it's never a good idea. Worth does not need to be earned. It cannot be taken away. It's yours. And I feel like that was one really nice to read and hear, because I personally have never really been on a diet, but I feel like growing up I didn't intake the proper amount of nutrients and or calories throughout my days, and I've seen the repercussions of that now that I'm growing into adulthood. So much in this book that is so wonderfully written, and it truly is worth the read. finished getting ready for the day. Today has been so fun. I caught up with two of my college besties. We FaceTime monthly, at least I want to say like once, just to catch up and bring each other up to dates with whatever's going on in each other's lives. And there's been a lot, but it's always really, really nice. I get a good laugh every time that I'm on FaceTime with them. And with that being said, I also wanted to share my second book recommendation with you guys. And this one's a little unique, but I promise you it's worth the read. And it was one of those like page turner type of books. Like I couldn't put it down. And I finished this book in like 3 days, I think, which is a record for me. The book that I'm referring to is My Body by Emily Ratajkowski. I loved her book. I know it tends to fall onto the autobiography genre-wise, but it deals with so many other pivotal and important topics, which include the exploration of feminism, sexuality, as well as just the role of like power and men's treatment of women, as well as just the way that we as women pretty much become accepting of such treatment and also play into these standards and I guess norms. What I found most interesting was the way that it was written. It feels very personal, of course, because it is based on Emily's personal experiences, but it also gives you a really, really broad sense of being into what she experienced, mostly in the modeling industry. And it's crazy to think how many women who are in the modeling industry that go through this. Again, this was a very easy read, at least for me. It was something that I flipped through so fast. Warning, there's a lot of different sensitive topics involved while reading, which include sexual assault. So I want to let you in on that in case you are sensitive to something like that and you decide to read it. But it was a really good read in my opinion, so highly recommend. Welcome to my bathroom. It is time to get ready for bed. Let's get into the skincare portion, and I'm gonna close out and share my last book rec. Okay, I'm all ready for bed, did my skincare. I wanted to talk about the last book recommendation that I have for you guys. My favorite self-help book. It's The 4 Agreements. I love it so much that I went to this little bookstore and I saw that they had the little pocket version. So best believe I bought it. I found this book when I was in a very unique place in my life. I want to say it was like 2021. I was just kind of trying to break away from so many things that I was experiencing and that come with just like growing up first gen, growing into your own, self, not just as a woman, but also as an individual. And this was literally heaven sent. So this book talks about the 4 agreements, which are 1, to be impeccable with your word. The other one is to not take anything personally. The third one is to not make assumptions about literally anything or anyone. And last but not least, it's to always do your absolute best. Each section of the book is filled with so many different stories and information, as well as advice that kind of just like helps you to be able to digest more of what these 4 agreements are. And it's, like I mentioned, very much a self-help book, and it's one of those easier reads, but to me, I found it to be very profound, and I'm gonna be reading it for decades to come. Looking for something that's easy to read and still practical and tangible and things that you can implement within your life, I highly suggest it. Also, I can't get over how cute and small it is. For comparison, this is my hand, and I have a pretty small hand, keep in mind. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do read any of my recommendations, let me know in the comments. Come back to this video and let me know what you like about it, or if you read any of these, which I'm sure some of you guys have. Let me know what your thoughts were on the books, what you liked, maybe what you didn't like. If you are a reader, leave some book recommendations down below. They don't necessarily have to be self-help books, though that is one of my go-to genres. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I post every Sunday on here. I'll see you in my next video.